right again.
Yep. Get this?
Just got started. Good? Okay, we're going to go over the speeder, going up and down. On camera. Failed. Also, is there a technique when you're packing like that, when you have it, to make sure that when you come back up, it's not twisted all up? Is there a technique that you recommend? Yeah, all you really need to do is run one tape on each one glove. Yeah. To make sure it's not twisted.
If my crew wouldn't trust that right now, they'd have to run to the edge again to make
That's
sure.
Right. So the system I'm going to teach you on the drop is going to keep you from ever having to do that.
Right. I'm saying when you moved it or pulled it out.
You want to run them or just not worry?
Watch this one more.
Alright, hold that.
Yep, I got that.
We waited to do this while you were all here instead of doing it during your commute, just to stress this point. So that is, the whole belly needs to prune. Definitely ready to twist. This all
I got the whole up right here.
There. There's the tack.
So the one little one-liner that you want to remember is tack over sheet. So if this is the sheet, it might be the inside drive, right?
I'll give you a 50% chance that it will go up right.
Really? 50? I don't know if I can go that high.
Maybe 25.
Yeah. Sorry?
So this big quad of sail, all the left cape's right here, so we know we got the twist out.
Yep.
Now the next thing is to make sure we hook it up right. Pop in the bag. Right towards the front. Okay, so we want to make sure the sheets go around the forestay. And
I just say, babe, I'm ready to go about you. That's where you next section.
red ones are tack line.
Yeah.
I'll grab it from you.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We should go and break one bag. You don't need all that extra weight. Of course. Well done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the twist.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
What's it called? It's one that he built that was too flat. Use it for proving. Perfect.
Frankenstein. How much does name it?
Okay, so the sheets are inside the halyard. We were originally outside to be an outside jibe. So we're guaranteed to have an inside jibe. The basic procedure, we're going to hoist now that it's all ready to go. Generally you're going around weather mark the other way, but we're going to take a right turn to set this thing, port tack bear away, essentially. So we're ripping along with the jib going upwind, and let's just say it's a weather mark, no offset. We're just going to take a turn off the tube. So sort of like we talked about before, the driver is a big part of making this work. We don't want to hoist quickly. We want to make sure the boat turns, and the driver can usually sense this the best, I believe, because everybody else is kind of busy with their strings and head down. So as soon as the driver feels, after he turns to the weather mark, he keeps going down, 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 and he actually feels the apparent wind diminish, that's the hoist time. If you hoist early, what happens is this sail, there's a lot of wind blowing from the bow, if you set it too early, and all this blows through here, and you'll try to hoist, and the spinnaker goes, and you might not even notice it when you're pulling the halyard, and it gets stuck in that triangle of the shroud and the mast right up there. So that's why you want to make sure you make a turn, feel the apparent wind go down, and you hoist, and it's nice and blanket by the mainsail. It'll be an easy hoist. The procedures depends on how people have on board, but normally what I would recommend is the halyard goes up, the first thing to pull, when the head gets about to the spreaders, and you can start cheating the red line, the tack line out. Don't pull the tack line first, it'll fall in the water. So the idea is if you really have the choreography down, the halyard rings the bell at the top, at the same moment the tack line rings the bell at the end of the pole, the luff gets tight, then you pull the sheet. But you gotta have the timing on not getting too greedy on pulling the tack early, or it obviously goes to the water. So once this is up by the halyard, it's still moving, then you can start to pull the red and time it such that you're just watching the sail hook if you're the tack line guy, and it doesn't pull it into the water. So the idea is that once you ring the bell on both ends, the luff's set.
Do you preset the sheet ahead of time?
I should have said that too, yep. So we can preset here. If we follow this rule, the sail's not really full, it's still behind the main.
Yeah.
Halyard's all the way up, tack's all the way up.
You're double-handed.
Okay, yeah.
How would you handle the tack versus halyard?
You can cheat the tack out to about the net, but don't go any farther.
Yes.
Halyard all the way, then finish the tack. What you're trying to do is separate the three corners. If you just pull the halyard only and leave the sheet loose and the tack loose, you can definitely have a lot of swirling wind behind the main, and you'll end up with a twisted sail that takes a long time to untwist it sometimes. So that's the concept, is trying to pull all three corners apart so it can't twist. So that's why having the sheet preset, having the tack line cheated a little bit if you're short-handed,
Yep.
and then just do the halyard. You've probably got them all three far enough apart it probably won't twist. The better way is what I described to begin with, where you got to simultaneously, the tack's going out, the halyard's going up, then you know that they can't twist because all three corners get separated. And then once it's up, communication goes from the halyard, it's up, tack's up, tell the driver to turn the boat. If he turns the boat early, you're going to use winches to try to do things where you can't even do it. You might actually lose it. So clutch is closed, so at least you're safe, but you want to make it easy. Just hand over hand to the top, don't turn the boat. So it might feel like the driver's frustrated, he wants to get going, but it just takes that long to get 30 feet up in the air. Bingo, turn, snap, it'll pop full, and then off you go. So if you know your boat well, you can set the sheet properly so it's pretty close to being right. When he does do that turn, you're sailing at full speed. So I don't know where your clue goes exactly on this boat, but let's say it was at the shroud, you preset this pretty tight if you can to have it as set as possible. So you accelerate, and then you do the 1, 2, 3 deal, spinnaker, jib, massive mainsail, whatever, to fine tune. That'd be the set. So it's probably not that unusual, all those sets. But I think the unique thing is the technique I'm going to teach you now is the drop, and that's where you can usually shrimp it or call it in the water and get it wet, run it over, and have all the bad issues of bad spinnaker drops. The hoist is actually fairly easy.
Hey Randy, on the set, I know one thing we've learned too is we'll take the guy down here will actually take and try to hold that sail fairly tight until it gets up a way, so it gives us a better chance.
Right. Yeah, you got a few more people on board than some of these other guys, but if you do have that person, you can actually be making sure it goes up and not catching on things at the same time. So that's your fourth guy can be doing that.
But that guy can't hold that sail too tight or he's slowing down the sail.
Right.
That's what usually happens. You die, and then you're like struggling to pull it up.
Yeah,
and then
no,
like,
it's just
hey
trying
guy,
to
release,
make sure.
even help, you know, just push it up a little bit.
We're on the same team here.
So the drop is a race course thing. If we're heading for a lure mark, the key there is do not call your last lay line on the lay line. What you want to do in your mind is have an invisible imaginary mark, maybe 2, 3, whatever boat lengths it's going to take to get the spinnaker down. So you're not ever aiming for the mark. If that white mark was our lure mark, we'd be heading to something imaginary 3 boat lengths to windward of that lure mark is our angle. So at the very end you can dive down without going to leeward the mark. You want to have the spinnaker
If you were to
hit
make
the
a
deck.
mistake, better douse early than douse late.
Right. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So let's just call it a 3 boat length or something like that.
Whatever you're
Invisible mark you're heading for, and then the driver's going to do a sharp turn, dead downwind at that point, 45-degree turn, in other words, straight downwind, so we can get the spinnaker down quickly, unloaded, predictably fast. If he comes in hot, it'll be predictably screwed up. Then you blow tack or however, it starts pulling off the back of the bus. You're fighting it, you're fighting the wind, and you're going to take 6 or 8 boat lengths. And, hey, the mark's way over there. We're downwind of the mark. Okay, so that's the key. Is the driver again to just really get aggressive on the dead downwind portion of the turn, so that the spinnaker obviously hides behind the spinnaker or behind the main, so you can get the sucker down. But the unique things about what I'm advocating here on the drop is the order of dropping the sail. The steering is kind of straightforward. So we're going straight downwind. Do not let the tack go. The tack's at the end of the pole. Leave it to the very end. So the idea is we don't want to do what we just did of tacking a spinnaker on a windy trampoline upwind to the next way of the mark.
Keep it
We
stretched
want to
out.
make sure it's in the bag, untwisted, and this technique's going to have that happen. So the technique is spinnaker's full, we're ripping along, 3 boat lengths above the mark, driver goes dead downwind. The one person's easing the halyard, and then the bag boy is going to get this big old sail in the bag safely, untwisted, and dry. So here's the methodology of doing that. He's going to grab that's the sheet, the clue's right here, the sail's right here. Grab the lazy sheet, okay? Maybe the clue's up here, I don't know how high your clue is, doesn't matter. You're holding the lazy sheet, which is coming from the sail just to you. Don't do anything until the sail's unloaded, which is, you'll see it. It'll drop behind the spinnaker because the driver was a great drive, straight downwind. Once it's light, you're going to pull the foot tight. So you're not out here. We don't want the spinnaker to be anywhere near the water. We want to be way in here, so when you're pulling this big old sail, your miles are getting it wet. The foot goes tight, the halyard's let down as a teamwork effort between the halyard and the bag boy. The clue's going to come down. I'm keeping the foot tight. Comes down, we put it on my knee. My knee is now going to hold the foot tight. Now I got 2 hands, and I can really whale this baby. I'm just going down the leech tape. The back edge of the sail, I'm just pulling it straight down. Now that's doing 2 things. It's keeping it away from the water, but they can't twist. There's no twist in this baby. It's going to be pre-packed for the next set. Right down the leech. As you get kind of the bigger area, at the very end, you're going to get a bear hook, like this. You grab it. If the crew's busy going around the mark or whatever, you have some semblance of holding it, but the right way of doing it is once you have that bear hug and you got the sail, you call for the tack line to loosen, or listen, if you're right here, you can blow the tack, then you pull the foot in. And now that massive bear hug sail is ready to put in the bag. Everything's straight, no twists, and it's dry. So that's your safety deal. Now if you're on a bigger boat like a F9 or something like that, let's just go to the next extreme. Same concept, no change. But let's say it's super windy, we put the sail up and now it's pulling 25. Like, whew, this is not going to be that easy to pull that 1,000 square foot sail down and put it in the bag. So you can actually take the lazy sheet.
Go down the gangway.
You can go back to every boat's different on the hardware. Let's just say it was here, and I could sail. The driver goes dead downwind. You can can actually pull the lazy sheet and let it do all the work I was just doing. Pull this till the foot gets dead nuts tight, drop into the cleat. You're not worried about the foot. And even if it's super windy, it's still hidden behind the mainsail. And that really allows you to not have to worry about your knee and having anything blow away from you. In a pretty big boat, you can still get that down. If you have more people, maybe put 2 people on it. But the main thing is walk down the leech.
If it was super windy, could you go down the companionway with it and pull it down the backside of the main?
I like.
Right here works. We got a trimer and use it.
You're pretty good, and it's ready to go again.
Yeah.
The key is not just it's safe coming down, but it's safe going up the next time.
I really like that. Follow the leech down. You trap it underneath. You follow that leech down. You can't have a twist.
Yeah, that's right. That's the beauty of it. You never have to repack your spinnaker. You know it's ready to go.
And that driver just got to keep it going dead downwind till you get it done.
Yeah, it's torture for him.
Don't come up too quick.
Right. It doesn't work up here. Yeah. They wanted to come in hot. And it doesn't, So you got. But the call was way back there. The ley line's got to be the imaginary mark. If you jive for the real mark, you don't have the 3 boat lengths to play with. You can't. A lot of times it's windy, especially. You can't come up. You're stuck.
Yeah.
So those are important ones. So that's your conventional drop. Take a port rounding, go upwind. Then you got the other half of the drop. Let's just say it's a port rounding mark, and you're coming on starboard. So now the spinnaker's on that side. So some of the thought patterns you might go through is one, is this the last lap of the race, or have you got one more lap? If you got one more lap, you really want the spinnaker on that side of the boat for the port rounding weather mark, right? You don't want the spinnaker over here because it's going to screw up your next weather mark rounding.
So would you bring the bag over?
So if you have a like for instance, if this one we came in on port tack, the sail's on the wrong side of the boat now. So what you can do is when you come down to that mark, you're not going to jibe. You're just going to go dead down, but it's kind of a half a jibe. You can run around and drop it on that side, and that's actually sounds like another step, but not really, because on a small boat especially, now you're sitting on the windward side. You're not underwater. You know, in case you're a little bit late getting in the bag, and your weight's on the windward side. That's good too, and of course it's on the proper side for the next set.
So would you bring the bag over first?
Well, he's got 2 bags.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you have one bag, you could take it over. If you can think way ahead and have it ready to go.
Yeah, because when you're dead downwind, it's kind of neutral. 6 to 1 half.
Right, exactly. So in a doubt, I usually try to drop on that side of the boat. There's all kinds of things that go wrong on a race course, but I'm trying to explain what your preference would be. If you have
So what you're saying is if you're on the wrong dive to stow the spinnaker on the side you want it to be on, it's like a windward takedown when you're dead down, so you're just grabbing the lazy sheet from the other side.
And pulling around the forestang, and same thing with the knee, same thing with the tight foot, but now you're on the windward side. It actually sounds more complicated, but a lot of times it's actually easier when you come out dry.
So you basically jibe it.
I have a jibe, you just go straight downwind.
Yeah, but if you grab the lazy sheet, right, pull it up.
Yeah, you got to pull it around. Yep.
Yeah, you pull it around, right?
It's not really, it's not blanketed behind the mainsail as well, but here's what we say because you're on the windward side.
Where would the main sheet be? Where would the main sheet be when you're going dead downwind doing half a jibe?
Oh no, you just go wing and wing for a moment. Yeah. So when you pull it over, the spinnaker's on one side. You don't jibe the main. The main still stays on the port tack.
That sounds dicey if it's really windy.
Yeah, real windy. You still don't want to have the main going back and forth. So when the driver comes in for the imaginary mark, you turn such that you don't jibe the main. You just go straight downwind, and the only thing you're driving is the spinnaker. Just pull it around and drop it on what's going to be the new side.
But you never fill.
No, it's not really a jibe, it's just a pull around,
But the point is, most of the sail is still behind the main.
No, it's all out in the air. So I'd be over on this side, the main would be over here, on port tack, going straight downwind.
Right.
So there's no wind shadow with the main, but at least you're over there. So it's really, it still comes down pretty good. We're still tucking under the knee and all that tight foot stuff. You'll come around pretty good. So.
Practice.
So you got the super high wind method of the, actually cleat the foot tight.
Yeah.
And then you got the alternate sides to drop it on method. You went through the hoist. So let's just stop right there. And maybe you have calamities that have happened on your boat, or maybe have questions about the technique. What you guys are thinking.
Really windy and your main's reefed. So the main does not fully blanket the spinnaker, and you've got a very full spinnaker. Any extra tips on how to control that beast coming down?
Yeah, I think you're going to be going pretty fast no matter what sail you have up. So take that 3 boat lengths, make it 5 or 6 or 7. Who cares? You want to get that spinnaker down and not go past the lure mark. So your imaginary mark is way different. Plus when it's that windy, it's kind of hard to call those ley lines. And if you cut it tight, oh geez, I can't head up. You don't have a head up option. It's so windy, you can only go down. So make sure you call that imaginary ley line way before 3 boat lengths. Yeah, right. And it'll pay dividends in the long run. You know, to extend that boat length thing.
Speed and time is your friend at that moment, right? You want to have it happen fast, but you don't want the boat to go too slow either, right?
Yeah,
so
you want to come in full speed. You haven't changed a thing. There's no slowdown at all when you're on that imaginary run line. You're going full speed, 20 knots, whatever the number is. But then when he turns, it's a pretty dramatic turn, and he's going straight downwind. So that's a power bleed. But the fact that you're going fast is actually your friend, because it reduces the apparent wind.
Exactly.
So speed is not a bad thing when you're going down. It will slow down, but at least you get most of it down while you're still going fast. But that's why you're going to need more than 3 boat lengths, you know, because you're going so fast. So and that's the experience to try to figure out what that magic number is. You have to decide that way back there where you jived, not way in here where it's too late.
Randy, I have one question for you about sailing downwind and jibing downwind.
Yes.
When you decide that you're going to jibe your spinnaker and you're going downwind and you're in a pretty good sea state, when do you decide to turn the boat? Do you look to be at the back of a wave, at the top of a wave, on the front of a wave? Where do you want to turn the boat?
It's real simple. You just want to always be sailing downhill.
Okay.
Don't ever go uphill. If you can do that, you won. So basically, you don't want to jibe where you're going to start climbing a wave right when you're slowing down. That's a really good way to go super slow. And if you surf the wave all the way to the bottom, it's too late. You're already hitting the backside of the next wave. So it's just when you just start to catch the wave, that's your longest ride to be going downhill throughout your entire jibe. That's your goal. So just your initial.
So as soon as you feel the bow pointing down,
yeah,
that's your
right.
moment.
Period. Yeah, that's right. That's your time.
So that's a signal to your crew that you're about to jibe, right? As you get to the top of the wave and you start to go downhill, you're like Helmsley or whatever you want to say.
I try to help out even more. My verbal is 3, 2, 1, or
3, 2, 1.
Quick countdown so they know what you're thinking as far as that wave. So there's no like wait till the last second. Go jibing.
Yeah.
It kind of catches them off guard. So if I can give them a little 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something, it certainly helps them to get okay. He's going down. You know, and that's jibes on the race course anywhere. Except you can make up a lot of boat lengths, not just in winning the race by more boat lengths, by making the jibe easier. Because if you're surfing down that wave, you're going fast. Less apparent wind makes it much easier to crew to get that last spinnaker in. It's less loaded.
All right, are we done?
Any more questions?
Big round of applause for Randy.
Here to show up and put in your energy too. I was just talking. You guys are doing all the real work. I appreciate.
Okay.
Let's hear it for the organizer, everyone.
And see